Hi, thank you for tuning in to the Kaylie and Carol Show. Today we are going to talk about taking your power back, everything surrounding like what that could look like, what that could feel like. But first we're going to share a couple stories. That's always my favorite.
That's the first question she always asks me as soon as I ask her when we can record the podcast. She's like, yeah, but what are the stories that we're going to share?
and then I couldn't think of one, but then one popped in my head. Do you want to go first or?
Sure. Well, the one I was thinking about sharing, and I feel like it has a nice little teaching to it, which is why I wanted to share it. But I actually put out a post earlier, I don't know if it was this week or last week if you guys saw it, but it was about like what goes on in a medium's mind when we're connecting live to a loved one and with a client sitting in front of us, and just how it is a little bit of like a puzzle with the back and forth. It's constant communication with spirit, asking them, why did you give me this? What does this mean? What else do you want to say about this? And so just for you guys, I know sometimes in a reading, some things can come through and you cannot think of what it could mean, what spirit's trying to say. There's no connection, but it always ends up being figured out. And I think me and you have been doing a good job of not taking no, which I think we talked about this last time in the last episode, where it's like, it's not a no from spirit. It's just, how am I interpreting it? Or if we're not remembering right now. And so in my session a little earlier in the week, I brought through a name for my client that was sitting in front of me. We'll just say the name was like Robert or something. So I was connecting. I was like, oh, okay, how does Robert connect? Your loved one is mentioning it. And she was very certain. She was like, no, actually, like I can't think of anyone. And she like took another minute and she's like, yeah, no one. So I was like, okay, let me see why that they would drop that in. So I went and asked, and then I heard the word brother from their loved one. So I asked my client, I said, spirit makes me feel like your loved one on the other side makes me feel like you have a brother that's still here. And she said, well, yeah, I do. And I said, would you understand a Robert around him that they're dropping in? Because they're connecting the name Robert to her brother. And she took a second and she's like, oh yeah, actually my brother had a friend named Robert who passed away like a few years back or whatever. And so that I was like, thank you. But it is just like, even when something's not making sense in the moment, either we'll go back in, or if there's not anything else we're getting with it, then we just say like, hold on to it, keep your notes, look back, think again, like later in the day, later in the week, because the messages always come back together, whether it's a puzzle in front of you that happens or it's later in the week and it takes time. But sometimes we can be very sure on things. I think that even happened to you once in a reading.
A lot. It happens
like,
often.
No, when you were getting a reading and you forgot your like brother's name or something.
Yeah, it was something psychic amnesia would call. Yeah, it did happen to me.
That's what I mean. And you're a medium and you do this work. So like it happens.
Yes, it definitely
to
happens.
Everybody.
But that's what I was gonna say is these readings are always, I feel like it's the three of us. It's spirit, it's me, and it's, the client in front of us. Yeah. And I feel like, I always tell people, like, we remind ourselves, we're not their journey. We're a piece in their journey because it comes through exactly. If we know anything, we know it comes through exactly the way it's supposed to. And most times we are able to see the intelligence of spirit world, like when the reading's over, when they leave, or like we're able to see how everything pieced together beautifully until the end. But when you're, doing it, you don't, that's not our job to piece it together. Like it's your loved ones. We don't know. But what I was saying about it takes all three of us, like sometimes it's for you. Sometimes it's for them to, like you said, leave it in your notes and to uncover it a month from now, a year from now. It's like a message that just keeps unfolding. I've seen it so much. So So yeah, that was beautiful. And yeah, that happens a lot.
I think too, like understanding that that's how spirit works helps so much before
Yeah.
you sit down at a reading, because then you know how to piece the puzzle together. You know that, to think of the thing, like to think of everything really, not just the significant, big moment things that your loved one is going to bring up, but also the little moments like, yeah, I was just shopping for a new purse, and my loved one's bringing that up just to let me know that they're with me even when I'm not thinking about them. So,
and the other thing we always say too is like it has our readings have such a strong healing undertone. I believe every single encounter has a healing frequency behind it, and it's for our client, but it's also for us always. We always learn so much. I feel like we're always growing and applying things in our own life. Like so many times we get messages for our client that we're like, wow, that was like pretty good. Like for me right now.
Like maybe I should write it down.
Yeah. And because that's what I feel. I feel like we're all in this together in some way, and every encounter is like perfectly aligned and divine in itself. And that goes into my little story. So in my household right now, we have 3 dogs. We have 2 dogs, and they're golden retrievers, and they're pretty laid back for the most part. Pretty laid back for the most part. And well, my son moved in with his family and dog, and his dog is younger. I think he's 3.
Yeah.
He's an Aussie Doodle, so he has a lot of energy. He's not used to other dogs. He doesn't sit down much. And so it's been crazy, chaotic in the house a little bit.
I think just getting them used to each other.
Yeah.
I think it's gotten better, but
it's gotten better, but they still have their own, and they, and dogs feel everything, their personalities, yes, all of it.
Yeah, plus just the energy, the new space, it's different for everybody getting used to it.
So with all of that, I've been like, not a dog lover, and I'm a dog lover typically, but I'm like, oh, I don't want a dog like later in like when I'm done, and I've just been thinking like that, but we have many different things going on. So I was thinking about that, and
now was it like a serious thought, or you were more like you really didn't want a dog in it? Because I can't imagine that from you.
No, but I'm kind of serious. I'm kind of really, I guess I'm seeing things on so many angles, like I always do, but they're a lot of work. Yeah. They require attention and time, and being so busy, because I'm busy, I think, adding one more thing in is a lot and makes so I guess I'm reflecting. So I'm saying that hard thing, like I don't want dogs, but really what I'm saying is I feel bad that I'm not giving my dogs the attention that they should get, or that I would have given them. And not just because the other dog moved in general. This is just, now I'm just talking about busyness. Yeah. So anyway, that was my thought this week. Like, it was happening. So then we were going to a party to do readings, and we're turning on her block, and I saw a black dog sticking out of the window.
It was like a lab or something.
Yeah. And normally I would look at the dog and say like, oh, he's cute or something, because the wind was in his cheeks, and I was like, ugh. And I literally looked at it like, I can't even say that dog is cute. And I'm very aware of my thoughts always. I'm I have been doing this for so long that I could have the thought, and then I am observing it like, why'd you say that? Why'd you do that? What's going on here, Carol? So all that's happening. And I was like, it's just too much. I just don't want a dog right now. Almost like I was like, I don't even want to think about it either. So just put that aside, because that was an earlier thought in the week. Yeah. So I go and I end up, the last reading was the owner of the home we're at. And they showed me that black dog
in the car.
Yeah. So I said, so I told her, I said, a black dog is coming through. Well, anyway, she started, getting emotional. Her dog passed away the day before the party. I didn't even know. And he was black. And, so I went on sharing the story behind it, which was my feeling when I saw this black dog.
Yeah.
And she related to it 100%. She said, that's exactly the way I've been feeling, because her life, she has small children, and her life has been so busy that her dog came in for the shoulda, coulda, woulda, like no regrets. Like, it's okay, I'm here. But she was feeling the guilt of not giving him enough attention. And so it was literally what I was feeling.
Yeah.
But so anyway, that was what came through. So a lot of the teaching in that even is just to pause in the busyness and, for me, like maybe take a minute and go pet the dog and talk to him or whatever, just to know, because I'm walking in and out, passing my dogs, all the dogs, all three, passing them because they're always fighting or they're always wanting something else or they're always, and I'm like, oh my God.
But it also brought you back to the present moment. Like, you were able to bring through that message of like, no, it's okay. There is no guilt. There's no shoulda, coulda, woulda. Like, her dog understands, but also reminding you, like, they're just dogs. They're a part of this life. They were brought into this chaos, like, with us, with all of these changes. Like, they're going through the same feelings. They're feeling everything we are. And it, like you said, brings you back to the present moment, or to observe, which I think allows us to also step into a state of gratitude that maybe we wouldn't have been in when you were, just focused on like just being stretched so thin and I just can't deal with this anymore.
And I think always, like, sometimes rethinking a dog is a big responsibility, because I know we got our second dog because of you. And she promised to clean up after it, all the stuff, but other people did clean up after it. Not always her.
Yes, I did.
The dog outside. But the point is, like, it comes with when you're actually taking care of it by yourself. So I feel like everyone left and now I'm here.
Oh yeah.
So when you're actually taking care of the dogs, like feeding them, even though it's, taking care of them, let alone loving them, it could be a lot. So
for sure,
that's so even not rethinking, but thinking about, when you take something on, the responsibility that comes with it, I guess. I don't know. I'm looking at a lot of angles for myself anyway.
Yeah, but I just think the biggest thing connected to the reading and your story was the emotion under it, the guilt, the showing up, the giving them attention.
Because I had the same thing
like
going
that,
on.
yeah, which that's what wanted to be acknowledged.
Yes, yeah.
So we're going to talk about taking your power back, which again, we came up with this right before we sat down, but somehow it always intertwines. And I feel like something like taking your power back is something like, these situations come up so often. I feel like it's something that it's a lesson that everybody goes through like multiple times. Like, it's not just like a one and done thing. I think there's always different and new ways where you get put in situations that may be a little uncomfortable or harder for you to speak your truth, or maybe you don't even know what your truth is to stay in your power. And so being able to talk about this, I feel like, can be really beneficial. I guess we could just try to share, I don't know if you can think of any examples, but like what it feels like to give your power away. And I feel like, to me, at least, it's, walking away from a conversation and either not feeling totally heard or acknowledged, or feeling like, well, the conversation is over, but I wish I would have said this, and this. But for some reason, you kept quiet, or you changed the way you said something to keep the peace.
That's exactly was going to be my example. Sometimes I find myself, I saw it more in my daughter, but then I saw it in myself recently where I would agree with someone that's saying something, and even though I might agree to certain parts of whatever it is that they're saying, but that was the feeling when the conversation was over, that I gave my power away, because I felt like, well, I didn't totally resonate with all of that. Like, and why did I even agree with that one part? Like, even though I did, it wasn't in the same context of the whole topic.
Right.
So then, I have done, and I continue to do, then I'll send a text and I'll try to
keep
clear
the
it up
going.
just to be like, okay, I don't, but just because that's the feeling, like the feeling was I gave my power away. Like I didn't totally believe in something that was said, I guess, and I didn't want that to be the end of the conversation.
And I don't even think it was necessarily like you didn't, you were just lying. I think keeping the peace, like feeling like I just need to keep a peace. I mean, I can get into like how that you learn that from childhood. Like we could talk so deeper into it, but I think connected to it is just that you really, I'm sure there's a lot of people listening who can step into that role of like just wanting to keep the peace and understand. And that's what I think is behind it. It's not that you're lying that you didn't agree or you didn't agree with them at all, but you just told them what they wanted to hear. It's more, you can understand them. You understand what they're saying, where they're coming from, why they would think that, even if that's not how you feel or that's what you agree with. And so the difference is then being able to continue that conversation in a way that still feels like you're sharing your perspective or your truth, if that's what you want to do, or if that's what you feel pulled to, or like you said, if you felt that unsettled feeling at the end of it, like it's okay to go back or whatever. But I do feel like that is a way that it feels like your power, or you weren't in your power, or it was taken away. And it doesn't mean, again, by this other person, because I feel like someone can't take your power unless you give it, in a way, which I feel like is a really interesting conversation. I don't know if you agree with that. But even in terms of like mediums or psychics, when they're giving messages, and maybe there's certain ones that aren't as authentic, and so they're sharing messages of fear or worry, and they're telling you, no, you can't do this, that's going to turn out really bad for you, or you have to make this decision. People can leave there feeling full of fear and like, oh my God, now I have to listen to this person or whatever, which could be, we could say, oh, they took my power by filling me with all this, but really, there was a part of you that already had that fear, that already connected to that, worry, whatever they were saying. And so hearing it made it just validated something in you, whether it be incorrect or whatever, you were still giving your power up in that situation. And again, I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just about being aware of your power and your choices. That's what I was thinking about this morning, connected to staying in your power or taking your power back. I was like, well, how does someone do that? And
in the context of the reading, what you were just talking about, because you said a lot of stuff there, so I was like, yeah. I was trying to follow and remember, but I can't. But in the context of the reading, I feel like pressure. Yeah. That's all I kept hearing was pressure. Like when there's pressure on anything, whether it's like, oh my God, leaving a reading, now I have to do this, or what am I going to do? I feel like that's part of it. A part of either your power was given away, taken away, all the above, because there should be a piece that you feel like, okay, I have a choice. It's a big decision, but I have a choice. And where it's different than like, oh my God, see? So I remember this one reading I had, and I don't know if I could repeat what she told me, but I'm trying to think. She said something very opinionated and very like,
another medium?
I could say it, yeah. She basically said there would be a mark on your soul. Like, that's how she said it.
Yeah.
And that sounds very harsh, very hard, very, like, scary. Like, a mark on my soul if I did this or that. Like, it was just not okay.
Yeah.
Like, and so when I left... so being in that reading, maybe I could have said my opinion to her or not. I don't know if you'd even do that in a reading setting, but I guess what I'm trying to say is,
I think it's about being able to recognize your choices. So afterwards, stepping out of that fear, stepping back into, no, this is still my life. This is still my choice. And I don't have to choose to believe that, because if I'm being pulled in this other direction, then I need to trust that.
Yeah. And I was talking about pressure, but pressure.
But the
because
pressure to then make one decision.
Pressure. So that's probably could be a good indicator that, you know, if you're feeling pressured by someone or something, that maybe just have that awareness, like, okay, what do you believe? Now, I see her strong opinion. I see what they're pushing here, but take a minute and create some space to feel into it yourself.
And that's actually what my reading earlier in the week was all about too, was not necessarily like staying in your power, but it was all about choices and like reminding her there is no right or wrong choice, and whatever choice you choose is just going to take you down a different path. And remembering, you know, or seeing where you have a choice or that you can choose something, I feel like is what will fill you with that feeling of power and like you have a choice. It's not powerlessness. And there was a quote by some spiritual teacher, and I was thinking about this too, that it was like, you always have a choice, even when you think you have no choice. Like when you're not choosing something, like then you're choosing something at the same time. Like not choosing something is a choice, basically.
I just had a vision of my little grandson because he's been loving climbing up the stairs, going to this room, coming in, coming out. He does this like 10 times. And if I go to pick him up and like, okay, we're going to go do something else, he'll scream. He wants to get back down. And I was thinking about that as you were talking, because I was like, nobody wants to be told what to do. He has his own agenda, and he is making his own choice, which is he wants to do it 10 times, 20 times in a row. And when we disturb that or try to pressure or pull him out of it, he screams. So, but that's everyone. That's a baby. I think we all know what we want. We forget because of the choices we have, because there's so many, because of the influences we have, there's so many. We forget, but anything that could support, like, okay, what do you want to do next? You know, maybe after 20 times he'll get tired of it and he might want to walk down a different hallway by himself, but sometimes we don't wait that long because I pick him up. Okay, let's go do this. But just as an example, like,
that was something I learned a long time ago. Like when I used to babysit for my little cousins, like in high school and just after high school, was just that little kids love choices. And when I think about that, I'm like, we all love choices. We all love being asked, what do I want? And that is because it fills us with that feeling of like, oh, I'm not in control, but like I have options. I can do what I want to do. There's a level of importance here. I'm being acknowledged. I'm being seen by being asked, what do I want? Or given options. Like when there's just one option, or you're being told this is what you have to do, or you're wrong if you do this, that's where the pressure comes in. That's where that feeling of like anxiety, misalignment comes in, because you're like, well, hold on, like what if that's not what I want? Or
you have to do it by a certain time, or you have to whatever it is that's causing the natural flow of your own self tuning in and feeling through it. And, you know, that's where your power is. Like,
and so I think in order to then take your power back, or stay in your power, I mean, the biggest thing I think at the core would be connected to like your belief system surrounding yourself, and surrounding like I just said, there's a level of importance here that deserves to be seen and acknowledged. and trusted, like all of this has to be like, that's where the focus would be on, because you can't make a decision to move forward in your power, to send that text after that conversation if there's part of you that's doubting, your truth.
Yeah, and we may have talked about this a long time ago, I don't remember, but just writing like things down. I say journaling, but it could be like a letter to yourself, like like a few of my favorite things, that kind of thing. But really, just what are your dreams? What are your desires? What do you want? How do you want to show up if you're a mom? How do you want to show up as a mom? How do you want to show up as a sister? How do you want to, like, what is important to you? And then just kind of letting it take, like, and just asking yourself, because how many times do we stop and ask ourselves? I know we do a lot, but these questions, but asking the questions just to get to know yourself, like, even more. And we think we know everything there is to know about ourselves, but then when we ask these questions and then think about it, when you're faced with something that is challenging to your belief or to what you feel, then that's an indicator.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, because you said, like, how would you show up for this person or in this role or in this role? But I was just thinking, like, well, how do you want to show up for yourself? Like, I feel like that's power. It's like, do you want to be able to trust yourself and have that connection with yourself, where you feel strong enough in your power or within yourself to honor how you feel, honor your opinions, honor your whatever perspectives enough to be able to share them in a situation where you feel like it might be a little more difficult, where the person's not hearing you or seeing you or...
Well, I was saying showing up for others. I'm trying to think about that as a mom, as a daughter, as a sister, because it's part of who you are. So I was trying to, like, so putting those questions out there, it is showing up for yourself, because it's what I would want, how I want to show up as a mother. Like, if I'm living my life one way as a mother, and I got to a certain stage that was like, oh, I wish I had more of this or something, getting to what I want. That's what I meant. So if I lean into my
But why does that have
power,
anything to do with your relationships with other people? Like, showing up for how you're showing up for others.
I am.
Right, but we're talking about taking your power back, which is in the moment of feeling your power taken away, then it's like, I have to trust myself enough to say this. I have to honor myself or my truth. I have to believe myself enough to take my power back in this situation. I don't think it has anything to do with how you show up with.
But see, I'm thinking it does, only because I would do it for me, because I have a voice or say, like, that's not okay. I wouldn't allow that. I wouldn't allow it in my space. Happens to be my son.
But do you see, you wouldn't do it you wouldn't allow that for your son. That's why it's getting triggered in you. But that's where I'm saying, bring it back to you. Like, if you wouldn't allow it for your son, well, that's an extension of you. And so take it back and see how, well, no, I honor myself enough. I wouldn't allow it for me either. Like, I understand what you're saying in terms of, like, that's what's getting you to see your power is, like, your relationship with someone else, or how you want to be or show up for this person or in this way as a mom. I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying, like, bringing it back within you, like, that is what's causing you to take your power back in a situation, is seeing it through this role of being a mother. But take it back within you and see, like, no, that's what you deserve, like, no matter what, like, period, to be heard or listened to or whatever, inside being a mother and outside being a mother, just as Carol. Like, yes, it's all connected, it's always connected, but your power, I feel like, has a deeper connection with, like, your soul and your beliefs with yourself, like I was saying, and believing that there is a level of importance here that needs to be acknowledged or whatever. So, I guess, I don't know, do you have anything else you want to share or talk about?
Yeah. I was literally just going down like a rabbit hole thinking when you were talking, people are walking around with beliefs, because you keep saying connecting to your soul and to your beliefs. And a lot of people are walking around like it's not even their beliefs. How did they even know what they believe? Or that's why I was giving the example of journaling and stuff, because there's so much, I think people aren't even aware of even that part of it.
Well, and I think, no, that is because I think in the very beginning of this conversation, I started by saying something like, what is your truth even? Like, how do you even know what your truth is? And so I do think that is an important aspect. And I think that just comes from, I think you said something earlier about like observing how you feel, how this made you feel, observing your thoughts, like all of those little things, stepping out of the situation or the conversation or whatever for a moment. And like you said, going back to it to send a text, like that space in between, I feel like will help you understand deeper what your truth is. Being able to kind of weave through beliefs that were put on you versus your own beliefs. And that just comes, I feel like, from slowing down, observing, and just like you said, asking yourself, like through
and
journaling.
I think well, maybe I just feel through everything, but really feeling through it. I mean, however
And when you feel through it, then the next step is trusting it. Like that is your power too, acknowledging that these feelings, like I said, hold importance, and trusting it and not letting you doubt yourself, because how you feel is how you feel. You can't be wrong in how you feel.
And that's what I was thinking. Everyone knows if they feel like, they're backing away from something, or if something feels just a little unsettled or not right. Everyone has that within themselves. So,
and it might take a minute to understand that feeling. Like I might not even know what it is. I just know I tensed up a little bit, or I noticed my body get tight, or my mind was racing more, or whatever, or I noticed I couldn't stop thinking about it for the rest of the day. Like there's little things that I feel like you can observe or be aware of that is your body, your soul trying to get you like, hey, maybe there's something more here that I should tune into, to see, did I give my power away? Is this something that I connect with or resonate with? Or how could I have done this differently to honor myself more? So obviously the topic of taking your power back, like all of these topics that we talk about, are things that are so complex. And like you said, there's rabbit holes in every different direction that we can go down. I literally said something really quickly earlier about how I can go into the whole peacemaker thing and how that is all connected to childhood that we didn't even get into. But so there's so many things that can go so much deeper into it. I think trying to fit it all in a little half hour, 30-minute podcast is going to be impossible. But I think we do a good job of just bringing up some key points to get us and the people listening just like thinking differently and observing differently. So let us know what you guys thought about this conversation, if you agree with certain things, if you disagree, and if this resonates with what's coming up in your life right now. If you feel like there was a situation recently that your power was taken away, or you wish you would have stayed in your power more. But yeah, thank you for listening.